Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I'm your most favorite life energy coach under the sun. Reason why there's no such coaching program like my coaching program, and nobody spends as much time with and on their clients like I do. True story. 2 to 3 times per week, I rendezvous with all of my clients via Zoom or via phone call. Each session is an hour long and it's recorded for posterity in order for you to be able to take notes and in order for me as well to take a truckload of notes. And each session we part and I give you homework to do for next time. And this is how we proceed. 2 to 3 months minimum is what I recommend in my coaching. I don't care what type of coaching you've done before. I don't care what type of things that you've tried, how many videos you've watched. If you've never been in my coaching, this is a different type of boot camp. I'm very honest, very direct. I really do demand that you come prepared and ready to work, not to rebuttal me, not to question my methods, but actually letting me guide you through this process so that your coaching is the most effective. Okay, if you do that, you will definitely succeed. All right, so there will be no question in your mind if you do the work, because I cannot do your push-ups for you, how to control your universe. Especially I teach you the energy work, which not every coach teaches, far from, if any, how to achieve your results, etc. You will have no absolutely question in your mind how to do that once you and I part in our coaching. And if you need further guidance after that, once in a while, people have come back for touch-ups and you can book the 5 phone call package for that. In order to be in my coaching, you need to sign the coaching agreement, pre-book first, sign the coaching agreement by hand, scan it, send it to my email, and email me with your availability for a first session in which we discuss what we're going to address in coaching, as well as the schedule and everything like that. And please do watch more than one video of mine to get to know my personality, very direct, very detail-oriented, and I do it exactly as it's supposed to be done, which is addressing your history first and then teaching you how to manifest second. Okay, it doesn't go that you can do not address the person's history and you're able to teach them how to manifest. It just doesn't exist. It will never happen. Okay, this is why a lot of people are so frustrated with the manifestation circles, etc., etc. So in fact, I'm recording this. All the other packages are on my website. If you have any questions, just email me directly. So I wanted to record this audio since there's so many of you that are new on my channel, and a lot of people listening in. Like last time I checked, it was like 38,000 people are now listening to my channel monthly. So that's a number for me, and thank you very much. So do subscribe. You're going to learn here more than anywhere. A true story. And the title I came up with is essentially the most honest guide to bringing back an SP. Okay. Because I realize the more people write to me, I realize that I am definitely not like everybody else out there. Not that I didn't know that before. This is why I started my own channel. But it certainly is a huge discrepancy between me and other coaches in that the way that I use certain words and the way that my philosophy operates is vastly different from a lot of people. So this is why I stopped calling myself a manifestation coach and I just call myself a life coach, a life energy coach. Okay, so I'm going to give it to you straight and I'm going to give it to you honest as usual. The entire fucking situation around SP, there's so much misinformation and there's so much kind of fuck you advice, if I'm being totally honest, because either the person hasn't tried that, does not know what they're talking about, has never experienced that in their life, or it's simply very superficial advice, one that does not go into details, of your, well, first of all, nothing can personal really be addressed via a video, that's for sure. But this approach of one size fits all just really, is out there like in everybody's faces. And I want to tell you this right now, that you're not the one to blame because you're experiencing a temporary no contact situation. And yes, even if it's been years, it's temporary. Everything fucking is, if you want to make it so. But it's not your fault. Okay, what you know about yourself right now, what you think about yourself, what you think about manifesting, what you think about what has happened, that is the problem. So it's not about blaming yourself. It's not about going in with this like, am I doing this enough? Am I doing this correctly? Right? So I teach everything I know about manifesting the easiest way possible so that people really get it. And I don't make it so complicated. And I most certainly don't blame my clients, inadvertently so, but still blaming. It's blame. It's like splashed across the internet. You created this. You didn't do this enough, and you're not doing this. 3 things you're doing wrong, and 5 things you're doing wrong. So you've done nothing wrong. In fact, I would treat the separation with your SP as something of very valuable information. Okay, it's valuable information. Why? Because with or without this SP, you held on to something. And the first, like if I was to manifest an SP back today, the first thing that I would examine is what has been bothering me for a long time. Just without this SP. This SP is just the messenger. So let's just start out with that. And they've communicated to you something about what you have going on inside your mind. And personal relationships are a direct out picturing of, yes, what you've got going on inside. And here's another difference between me and other coaches. I do not include the entire world in that circle. I think that's fucking crazy and stupid. You cannot control the entire world. You can only control yourself and your inner circle. To me, that's happiness. I don't care to change everybody else. I think it's lunacy to hang on the responsibility of every fucking single wackadoo that exists out there. And that sometimes, yes, happens to be in your reality. Okay, so that's another kind of like really rigid, unrealistic, completely stupid belief out there, especially those coaches that are regurgitating Neville Goddard till the end of motherfucking time. Not for nothing, ruined Neville for everybody. Just saying, it's the truth. Okay, Neville came out in his elegant fucking suit, being a multimillionaire, taught these things, and they made a fucking business out of it in a very, very disgusting way, because they like utilize this to really, cause anxiety to people. I'm just saying, because it's not helpful when you're trying to be perfect. Because these people who are coming into coaching, they're mostly people pleasers. I know this off of YouTube for fucking sure. Like 99.999% people who come into coaching are people pleasers. They don't have their confidence together. So now you're going to tell this person who has already kind of like struggles with confidence that they're not doing something right and it's all your fault and you're not standing enough ways on your head. Like, that's fucking retarded. I sorry for the word, but really it does a number on your soul on top of what the situation is already in your world. Okay, so rather than doing that, completely have this perspective, and this is the perspective that I offer on my channel, is that your programming, your belief system is very much at play right now. So are you going to be responsible for what you experienced in your childhood? But this very much at play today. So how much are you responsible for? The only thing really, if you want to be responsible for anything, is that perhaps you should have addressed it sooner. That's it. That's it. Like, really, maybe you haven't just met that coach yet, okay, who would really fucking revolutionize your world. Like, it's not about SP. Like, please understand also another really important point, because I know a lot of you take notes. It's not about the SP. SP is simply a symptom of everything else kind of being shaky. Okay. And if it's not, because I've met a lot of people who are like, let's just say, really good with money, excellent at money, excellent at work. And then in the department of relationships, it's a struggle. So sometimes it's like that, but more often than not, okay, it's that they're suffering everywhere. There's problems everywhere. So in fact, it's just a symptom, and it's not about, pointing fingers or anything, but it just basically starts with healing that wound, okay, within you. You would not have attracted the situation of no contact or being abandoned by somebody, seemingly so. We'll get to that in a second. If you didn't want to grow. All right, there's some people who don't give a fuck about growing. That's another one. So, which is why I really am a believer that people who do fucking stick their neck out and try to make a difference in their world should get the best fucking product and service out there, right? Not just like keep spending money and not achieving what they wanted to achieve. But the thing is, the shift starts with you, okay? It definitely does. There's no question about it. And what you'll find in my coaching, I can only speak for myself, is that you will have a change of heart about what really happened with this person. You will understand, okay, because you just stop blaming yourself. You stop blaming yourself. You stop thinking of yourself poorly. You stop defining yourself by what has happened, for sure. If it's very difficult to tell a person like, oh, just be positive, just be happy, just affirm, persist, persist, persist. But having not studied what their psyche looks like, having not invested like an abundance of time, which is like all I do in my coaching, like literally I would say this, right? 80% of my coaching is focused, zeroed in on you and developing your self-confidence and really just setting up your life. 20% is techniques and all the other stuff and the energy work. Because if you don't have the person together piece by piece, right? If they're not, meaning like a client of mine, if they are not shifting in energy, shifting in confidence, like this person cannot manifest no matter what kind of fucking technique you teach them. Even if it was the most glorious technique under the sun, like for example, energy work is most assuredly so. It's actually really fucking spooky how it works, okay? I mean, I know it's really spooky, but I keep hearing, like now that I've started teaching this, I don't know how long it has been now. I think since May, April, something like that, to my clients in this capacity, I've heard some really fucking remarkable shit. I'm not gonna lie, I can't really disclose it because everything is confidential, but what I can share, I share. Okay, you heard the success story from last time. And it's really spooky how it works. But if you don't address the person, you have nothing. So you need to start with yourself. There's no other way. Don't look for an easier solution. You aren't going to find it. You're going to frustrate yourself till the end of motherfucking time. And then remember that you heard this audio once upon a time and you'll come back, okay? Having wasted, I don't know, maybe a couple of years. And who knows if I'll be coaching by then. Just saying, okay? Maybe I'll just be writing books by then, which could very well end up being the case. And maybe do some seminars, like, in my favorite cities. Anyway, so number one, understand it's you. Number two, there's no one-size-fits-all solution, okay? What is true for one person may not be true for you. What worked for one person may not work for you. Again, this is why coaching is imperative. Why? Because you're an individual, all right? You're a custom-made individual. You have your own story. You have your own glory. You have your own shit, okay? And nobody's like you. So to, again, reemphasize this point, don't look for a cookie-cut solution. The solution is always you. So as long as you're learning new things about yourself and understanding what's what and why and how this got manifested in your life, that's the key information, because then you can reverse engineer everything in your life completely. You're already doing it, right? So you've been doing it. You've been completely under, the laws of the universe, all the fucking laws of the universe. I say it's like the law of me, okay? The law of moi. Life according to me, darling, kind of deal. Law. The law of life according to me. I love it. Excellent. Simply magical. And the other thing that I really, and people have told me I'm the only coach apparently who addresses this, but I'm real. And here's the deal. Some of you, yeah, your SPs are lovely and wonderful and this and that and the other. There's not a lot of drama necessarily. It's a miscommunication. It's a wrong time, whatever, right place or something. Right person, wrong place. This and then the other. There's not a lot of, situations going on. And in that case, it's relatively easy. We just need to, again, dig into your history, fix what we need to fix. But the thing is, in some cases, that this person has crossed the line of no return by the way that they treated you. You know that. And it's entirely up to you. And I call this being abusive. Like if somebody is abusive to you, whether emotionally, physically, verbally, truly doesn't matter. I mean, emotional abuse is the hardest to overcome, right? You never forget that shit. So I don't care what kind of revision we do together. You will remember that. We can soften the blow. We can revise certain things and why they acted this way and blah, blah, blah. Forgiveness, of course, but the reality is it's your call, right? It's going to be your call entirely. I'm going to give you the truth of what I think in coaching, but it's going to be your call of, can you imagine this person any differently after having seen what you've seen, how they've behaved with you? And do you simply want to then, understanding that profusely and profoundly, close the chapter on this and start your healing from this situation, from this pattern, most probably? Or do you want to attempt to change this person? Now, I'm not going to sit here and say it's impossible. I'm not one of these coaches who's going to be like, oh, it's impossible. No, nothing is fucking impossible. Okay. Everything is, of course, possible, but is it fucking worth it? I think the question becomes, do you really want to, do you really see yourself with this person, even if they became who, you want them to become? And will you be happy with that? Or will you not be happy ever? Remembering those things in the back of your mind, having that thing. Personally, the way I operate in my life today, somebody lies to me one time, I'm done with that person. I just can never look at them the same. Okay, so yes, I have forgiven some people in my life, but they really had to go out of their way, because if you break somebody's trust, that takes a lot coming back from. So entirely your call, your judgment, your life. I would just acknowledge that it was abusive. I think it's very commendable. You want to change an abusive person, parenthesis here. I've changed those as well. But it's a matter of if you want to jump back into a relationship with them. So that's, something to really observe, accept, digest, and then make a decision, okay, without the rose glasses on, okay? But also you might find, okay, and this has happened more times than I can even count, where the person in my coaching realizes, having worked on themselves, that they've changed their mind completely, and it's actually, doesn't take that long to come to this. If you're going to change your mind, you're going to change your mind in my coaching within a month, maybe two, right? It just happens. I don't have an agenda in my coaching. I don't have an agenda whatsoever. I'm just reflecting back to you what I see, what you tell me. Kind of like therapy, but I'm not a therapist, okay? After all, I only go off of what you tell me. And so I don't ever push you one way or another. What I do demand is clarity, that you come to clarity and you start going into the healthy direction for yourself. Okay, that is, if you can't do that, then we're not going to work well together. You need to continue making progress in my coaching continuously and show up ready. Okay, otherwise it's a waste of my time, quite frankly, and yours, of course. But people have changed their mind and they realize they've settled, because sometimes when you elevate your price tag, so to speak, all right, you never go back. Once you go Louis, you never go screwy. I don't know what the fuck. I don't even know where they just came from. Once you go Hermes bag, you never go Chinatown. Let's just say it like that. True story. Especially women in my coaching, something happens to them. Maybe because I'm a woman and I radiate this kind of like fuck you attitude. If you disrespect me, maybe. But the point is that that's overdue in a lot of cases, and for men as well, right? And the fact is, like, everybody, I'm purely impressed, by the way, of the caliber of people I'm attracting into my coaching, with a rare exception or two, and you all know who those people are. Actually, only one person. There have been a couple others, but very pale in comparison to you know what. And you've never heard anything about them. But the caliber of 99.999% of the people I attract is freaking phenomenal. And you know what? You have so much going for you, you don't even realize. So, of course, once you bring out your fucking gold, your golden Buddha status, and look at it for the first time, like dust it off, and look at it for the first time in ages, yeah, you might change your fucking mind about who you think you deserve. Like, seriously, though. And another thing, as I was kind of like thinking about this audio, what I'm going to say is that, you know, I bet you money, okay? If you are this person who has not been kind of like, who has faced rejection, abandonment, and this and that, and unhappy relationships like back to back to back, you've never really gone for what you actually want. Okay? It's not, at the end of the day, whatever the situation is right now with your SP, meaning whatever happened prior to them departing, prior to them, you know, whatever, betraying you, this and the other. At the end of the day, you unmanifested them yourself. Doesn't matter what form it came in, it just either of two things happen, okay? Either you unmanifested this deliberately because you knew subconsciously this is not at all what you want, what you deserve, okay? Or honestly, in some cases, by the grace of God, angels took this person out of your life. Like, seriously, I've heard cases like that. Okay, a couple of them. But in essence, you unmanifested this person, and it's, you know, your command went out there. Whatever it is that you were thinking, whatever it is that you were vibrating as, you unmanifested this person. And therefore, it's not about blaming yourself. It's about really taking inventory. What am I doing and why am I doing it? Okay, what's going on with me right now? That this is a pattern, or maybe it's a pattern with this person, or, you know, it usually is something that you're very much aware of that's been there for a long time, okay, in your life, or the way that you've been feeling repeatedly, or the fears that you've been having. All of these things are kind of like chronic. Okay, so they end up being outpictured in situations and people. So you can't really bring somebody back until you understand all this. Okay, but the good news is, once you know somebody's vibration, you know it for life. So bringing somebody back who you know and intimately know, it's a piece of fucking cake once you make room for a new kind of interpretation of the story, okay, and with different outcome. I'm just going on the assumption that you want to hold on to this person, keep them once you manifested them back, because people do manifest, you know, I hear this in my coaching all the time with affirmations, but they don't usually hold on to this person, okay? It's just, you know, I mean, if you want to play this yo-yo bullshit game till the end of time, be my guest, but again, going on the assumption that you want to hold on to this person, okay, for good. And so the inventory that needs to be taken of all the fears and things that you've yourself manifested, then the job becomes easier, in my opinion, because it's not about the chasing, it's not about the trying, it's not about, you know, watching 500 million videos on YouTube. It's about you. The answer is staring you in the mirror. It's a lot more productive of a conversation rather than, you know, investing your time in yet another technique. The technique is you, okay? So if you fix what you need to fix, if you go over the things that have been bothering you for a while, if you truly are honest with yourself, like what vibration have you manifested this person from, etc., and when did, if at some point your vibration went down, that's a very useful conversation, and that's something you're very much in charge of. You don't need to chase even energetically, okay? Making yourself more important than any manifestation is another very important point, because this whole obsession, again, should really be about you. Okay? If you were to obsess about anybody, it should be about you. How am I bettering myself? Am I doing right by myself right now? Is this something that's going to bring me happiness? Okay? Literally become like a real motherfucker of a selector of things that come into your world. The things that you're working on, like become an artist of your life, paint with precision. Don't just accept whatever used to be. Don't just accept whatever how it's supposed to be, how somebody said that it's supposed to be. Really authentically start redesigning yourself, and you'll see how much easier life will become. And yes, of course, that includes manifesting your SP or whatever it is you're working on, right? So I realize we all want love. I realize we all want, admiration, maybe even, and affection, and marriage. A lot of people, that's their goal, etc. Wonderful. But I think that the question should become, at what cost? At the cost of going bananas and driving yourself crazy over this, by chasing, by not wanting to look inside and really ask yourself, what do I want to do and how do I want to be? Okay, that's an easier conversation again. Reclaiming your power and really just asking yourself, like, who controls the narrative? And chances are, if you've been down this road of, kind of like, where is my SP? I need to chase, I need to worry. They're in charge of the narrative. You gave away the narrative position to someone who is a figment of your imagination. Fantastic. So no wonder that there's chaos in your life, right? So who's in charge of the narrative now? You got to be in charge of the narrative. What's going to happen next? How it's going to happen? I'm not a believer of not saying how. Yeah, all right, it helps to not want to know how or not care how. But devising the how and not proving it right, fuck, that's exciting. I've done that. This is how it's going to happen, and this and this and this and this. Okay? And that's controlling the narrative, quite frankly. And you have that kind of power if you learn how to use it in the right direction, in the direction of what you actually want. And lastly, I would definitely mention this. You gotta be bold and a little delusional. No question. If you can't accept that this person can come back, you either you really don't want that person or you're resenting them still. So that's something for you to answer, okay? Or you just, like I said, or you just don't believe that you deserve that relationship. You don't deserve that apology or whatever it happens to be. So that's, again, going back to self-esteem, okay? And confidence, quite frankly. But becoming bold and claiming whatever you want and beginning to attract that and fast is not hard. The part that people don't do a lot of the time, okay, and this is why I congratulated everybody who's listening to this, because you're like way ahead of everybody, is because the work on yourself requires complete honesty, and some people don't like that. It requires honesty, it requires complete transparency. No way to hide, nowhere to run away anymore. You might as well, especially if you've done this like for years and decades in some cases. So it's actually pretty fucking remarkable what I can achieve in like 2 to 3 months now with this intensity, like 2 to 3 times per week. Because we get a lot of shit done. We got a lot of shit done, and it's very very precise. And you'll see, if you'll end up in my coaching, that it is because we address things with truth that you're able to heal. You're able to look at things for the first time in a very long time that perhaps you've shoved away under the carpet. And that sometimes is really all that you need, most of the times, actually, if not all the time, right? Just to look really directly at yourself in the mirror. And then, sorry, and then really honestly ask yourself, what do I want from life? And realize that no one's gonna do it for you. Not even I can do it for you. I can teach you things. I can explain to you exactly how to do this. All the research and the work over the last 15 years that I've done, okay? I can teach you every trick under the sun, but if you yourself don't come eager to make shifts and really ready to be completely just, let's just lay it on the table, let's just fix this thing, and let's be honest about certain things that may be very hard. I understand that. Dealt with all sorts of delicate cases. But guess what? You're not going to continue to be able to run away from shit and it not greet you in a person, in a circumstance, or some other shit, okay, that you don't like looking at perhaps right now. And so it's a much bigger conversation. It's not about placing the blame. It's about education and doing this in a very sophisticated, educated way where you're actually doing something with your time, okay? And I've been as transparent as I could be without giving way too much away about my personal life. But let me tell you something. The caliber of men that I started attracting after I deliberately focused on this area of my life, okay, 15 years ago, no, sorry. Yeah, it's, well, no, 11 years ago, sorry. I saw a real difference within a year. Okay. I really, for myself, I mean, I did it myself. I researched, I read, I studied, I experimented, and inevitably it kind of brought me back to what I intuitively taught myself as a very young child, energetically, how to really create things that otherwise really would be hard for you. Okay. And this is what I teach in my coaching. And I realized that it really was never about anybody. It's just about who you think you are, you know, in the world. It's who you think you are, what you represent, what you command, what you accept, what you don't accept. Once I stopped, I mean, you have to say no to bullshit, right? Once I stopped accepting myself at a lower level and started commanding myself to be on a higher level, the entire universe obliged. And it sent me nothing but great men. Some of them I wasn't that interested. Some of them I wasn't interested in. But it was not like there was any shortage of nice people all of a sudden around me. And I've gone through some really abusive relationships. All of a sudden, the world had changed seemingly overnight. But nothing really happens overnight, okay? You have to work for it. You really have to insist upon being this person and no other person. And that's actually a lot easier to understand rather than giving away power even to a technique, even to an affirmation. The power that you imbue it with is yours. So you're always walking around with this power. So in order for you, in conclusion, to regain control of your life, bringing back your SP or whatever it is that you wish to bring into your life, you got to get control of yourself, of what it is that you're producing and why. And that's the kind of like magical piece of advice that I have for you, whilst you're being inundated out there in the world of SP. But a lot of things you can watch on my channel if this is particularly your topic. I've just said so much about it on my channel. But also you'd be very wise as well to sign up for my monthly audios, because in it, you know, we talk on a higher level. It's not just SP, it's about other realms, dreams, manipulating energy, how to do magic spells, these kinds of things. And it's a monthly membership. You get audios 3 times per week. Okay? Thank you very much for listening. All the information from me again is below. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.